Prepare to be amazed.
Searching for greatness in a sea of the dying and shameless, a sea of the aimless. I don't wanna be one of the nameless. I'ma wake up with the mindset that one day I'm gonna make it. And I don't think I'll be fine if I don't break my limitations. Don't try to stop me, I exist to write my own story. I'll make a decision if I want some peace or if I want the glory. Yeah, don't want a life that is complacent or possibly boring. I just want a life that is worth every day exploring.
My whole life I just wanted someone who would notice me. My whole life I just wanted to be.
How you doing, everybody? This is Jason Sauce of Fun and Video Games, bringing you today. And I just looked at the most recent videos that I posted in the last 6 months. The last time that we had what we're going to have today was 6 months ago. Mind blown. I can't believe I waited this long to put together a video that is, well, what is it? You got it right. Thrift Time and Finds, volume 43. I think I'm doing that right. And if I'm not, it says 34. But in reality, it's 43. In this series, we go to the thrift. We look for great deals on video games, electronics, movies, other random nonsense, because you know, as you can see, and from other videos in the Thrift Time and Finds playlist, I have plenty of nonsense in this room and other parts of the place I currently reside in. There's a lot of great ones in there. 43 of these. I remember there was a time where I said that this is something I would do every once in a while. There's a lot of great ideas out there from a lot of great content creators that go to the thrift and find some amazing things. I've been doing them for a long time now. It's going on maybe 2 years, I think it's been, since I started this series. And I couldn't be more excited to finally get back out to the thrift. For this Thrift Time and Finds, I should say, we went to 3 thrifts. A Goodwill, a community center, which I don't normally bring up on the channel, but there's different types of thrifts around, and it's not really a thrift, but it is. I don't know what you would really call it, but it's another place for people to donate their goods to and to sell, and it goes to a certain cause. I don't know anything more than that. It's like the thrift, but it's not. It's a little different. So that one and the Goodwill. What was I able to find out in the wild? Well, I saw video games at a Goodwill, and it's been a long, long time. At that particular Goodwill that I went to, there was nothing really worthy of getting. I am currently looking for games, of course, as always, to add to the collection that you see behind you. And other reasons why is because I want to build up some goods for the game fund. I guess that's what we can call it, a game fund. A lot of other people call it that. I guess maybe a better term would be funds to be used to buy video games. How's that sound? Sounds better to me. So we all need funds. Funds to pay our bills. Funds to support our wacky habits. Why not go get stuff out in the wild and see what we can get for it? Now, at one point in time, I debated on a couple different videos I've had out. Day in the life of a video game collector, I think, is the one that really explains it the most, where I kind of thin out the collection. For a while, I was going after some games and trying to keep them in tight, keep them in the room, keep them out of the collection, but just in a little pile to eventually sell off. Now, there was a couple different avenues we can go down. There's Mercy, there's the marketplace on Facebook, there's eBay. There's a lot of different things that goes on with things like that. So what I think is the best way for me to do it from a convenience standpoint and from not dealing with any nonsense, let's just be honest, it's probably selling things to the game store. Now, I'm going to hopefully get it for much less than what I'm going to get for it. I'm not looking for straight cash, because when you look for straight cash from a game store, they're only going to give you a portion of it, rightfully so. it is what it is. They want you to buy inventory from them. So if you get it to put towards a purchase, that makes a bigger difference, as we've seen in other videos. So I'm looking to rebuild that. I still have some thinning in the herd, we'll say. That sounds kind of awful, I guess. I don't know. It doesn't really. I'm looking to still thin out some of my collection, but not much more. Just maybe go over it a few more times, see if there's something I really just don't want, and get it for something that I really do want. So we were able to add to that today, which I'm going to go over, of course. We were also able to get some other interesting things out in the wild that I don't normally see. With things that I have gotten today, I got some nonsense, of course, because that is truly me. I got some vinyl, got some movies, and got a few video games. So the video games that I got were from a Salvation Army. There hasn't been much going on with video games in my area. It's just not something that's popular. And what I've been told, I think I might have said this in another video, I'm not sure, by a lot of people, along with Cynthia being told this as well, is that when they get video games, they put them on their online auction sites. That's kind of the way it goes. Certain thrifts do not do that. Goodwill does do that, at least in my area that I'm told. So it is what it is. We'll get to the pickups now. So we're first going to start off with some nonsense. Now, this right here, and I'll try to provide some close-ups of the items somewhere on the screen so you can actually see it, because I think you can see that pretty good, but if you can't, we're going to do it anyway. I don't want to do a full close-up video, and then this, I'd rather combine both. So this right here, I have two other ones, and I'm looking at them right over there. I've been looking for a few more of these. I don't know what interests me about them. I think they're awesome pieces of art. I think that, I don't know, I just look at them and I go, I wonder what that person was trying to get out when they made this. There's always a message behind everything, whether it's a video, whether it's a poem, whether it's writing down a sentence, whether it's talking. There's always, not always, but most of the time, that there's something that we're trying to get across, a point, if I may. After you peel back the banana, there's something always there. Sometimes there isn't. Music, like art, movies, there's always usually a theme, a message, if I may. And I, for whatever reason, look at these and I just wonder what the message was behind this. Did this represent something to the person in regards to a personal side, like maybe a family member, or they looked like it? Did it represent like a part of the world they enjoyed? Like, I don't know, for whatever reason, I like these in the game room, and they don't make any sense with any of the stuff I have, and I think that's why. Because it is an oddity in this room, if I may. But not an oddity, it's pretty cool. But just an oddity, and when I look at it, they're sculptured really good, and I found them literally in 2 different parts of the country, which is wild. Because I only thought that you would be able to find these in other places. But interestingly enough, I don't know if I've noticed this before. This was apparently made in England, and it was made in 1984. I don't know if the other ones have that, or maybe their dates were off. I'm not going to bother looking, but I think that's pretty interesting. Maybe that's why this interests me, because it was made in the year I was born. This is 38 years old. So am I. Interesting. But moving on. We've got some vinyls, and we've got some good ones. Like, I was looking at one of these vinyls, and I was like, wow, okay, I've flipped through the vinyls. It's been a while. I collect vinyl music. I collect Laserdisc, VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, 4K, video games, action figures, you name it. The rabbit holes that are out there, I've probably got into it. Not Pops, though. I'm certainly not into Pops yet, but I've got a few. But I won't deep dive into that because I probably wouldn't have any room to move in here. I kind of already don't, but I think that would make it even less. So I'll get Pops when I find they're interesting to me for whatever reason, or they're given to me as a gift. I guess that's how I put it. But anyway, back to it. I saw one vinyl, which happened to be The Fifth Dimension. And it's their greatest hits. It is an original vinyl. It's not a re-released one, so it's certainly got an interesting smell to it, and it smells like it's been in somebody's basement for a long time. When I opened up the jacket, we'll call it. I didn't see anything in there really that really made me nervous. There's a few scratches on it. I can usually just wipe those off, and it still plays pretty good. If it skips a little, it is what it is. But great band, and I think I might have had a CD from them. I'm not sure. But they have all their greatest hits. And it was definitely a great band from way back when, so cool to add to the collection. Two of these I almost didn't find simply because I was just walking away from the area where they have the vinyls. I already looked at the games, didn't really see anything for movies. I saw a gentleman walking by that came out of the back room and had two things of vinyl on him. He was kind of moving a little fast, and I was like, maybe he's just restocking. They don't... How do I put this? In the Goodwills where I am, they don't typically restock a whole lot. Or at least I haven't figured out the restocking pattern. I've seen them out every once in a while, different times. Like, maybe they do that for a reason, I don't know. But I saw this gentleman with two vinyls in his hand, and I was like, moving pretty quick, probably just putting them on, whatever. And I saw him put them on, and he walked away. So I said, well, I'm going to go back there. I'm going to see what those were, because for whatever reason, something interested me about it. And I'm actually really happy that I did, because we got some good ones. Right here is John Lennon's Double Fantasy. Now, this album, I don't believe I have. I'm pretty sure I don't. It's got some great songs on here. Like, I remember my mom, when I was growing up, used to be a huge fan of the Beatles, Elvis, a ton of rock bands out of the 70s, and of course the 80s, 60s, even the 50s sometimes. She used to listen to a station called Oldies 103, but the 8-tracks that she used to have, I think she had a couple of Beatles ones. She might have had a John Lennon cassette. Maybe she just happened to listen to it a lot, I'm not sure, but she loved the Beatles. So, of course, that will always stick with me because I heard it a lot as a kid. And I don't have Double Fantasy, I don't believe. And if I do, then I guess I have another one. Unfortunately, there's no way for me to track these. There is another app. Like, I have CLZ apps, which we're going to get into that conversation a little bit on the unfortunate part of having the apps and what you shouldn't do with them. But I haven't decided to get this yet. If there is one, I believe there is one. I believe there's a comic one, but I don't have a lot of comics. So, just happy to add it to the collection. It's a great album. I think it might be his last. I'm not sure. I'll try to take a look at the year here. It was 1980, so I don't know a whole lot about John Lennon's career after he left the Beatles. I know a good amount about the Beatles. A lot, most people do. Not all, but most. And some great documentaries are out there now. I think Peter Jackson, who worked on the Lord of the Rings trilogy and a bunch of other great movies, just released some footage of them recording the last Beatles album, which I heard that there's actually a director's cut version of it, and if you know anything about his extended cuts, they are long, and that is extremely long. So the one that was released on streaming services or whatever was a pretty long one. I guess the director's cut is even longer. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I definitely want to because I've heard a lot of great things about it. So just got to set aside some time for that. He was definitely a visionary, definitely had a lot of interesting outlooks on the world, as most people do, and unfortunately was taken, before his time, I would say would be an appropriate thing. So, tough. I actually have a box that Cynthia got me as a present that has the song Imagine from John Lennon on it. And it's one of those, like, you crank it up, not like a Jack in the Box, but you crank it up and it makes music, and it plays the beginning hymn of the song, and that weird musical form that I don't know. Somebody's gonna correct me on it, but pretty cool stuff. Glad to add it. And the other one that I was really surprised on is I don't have any vinyls from Mr. Springsteen. That's Bruce Springsteen, made in the USA himself. So this one right here is called Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey. It has a bunch of different songs on it. I recognize it, and it's a really cool vinyl. I'm definitely going to be showing you an overhead of this, which will be somewhere in the video, as I said before. But this is really cool. It looks like it has the musical lyrics, and it also has it almost looks like a postcard. And this one, I want to see. Yeah, wow, this is an old one. This is from 1973. I've never seen a Bruce Springsteen original vinyl out in the wild. So great musician. Ended up having a great band as well. What can I say about it? It's Bruce Springsteen, and I finally get to add a piece of vinyl to my collection with it. Let's move on. Now we've got one movie actually, and a couple of VHSs, so we got 4 movies technically. So the first one up is going to be Stripes. It's the extended cut. I didn't know that this existed, but apparently there's, I would call this a director's cut. That's probably a more appropriate term for it. This has 18 extra minutes of deleted scenes. So my question is it included in the film? And I could tell you right now if it is or not, but it says it's an extended cut, but then it's still rated. So usually when you add additional scenes or material to a movie, the rating gets erased and becomes unrated because the MPPA, or the MPAA, I should say rather, didn't have the opportunity to review the footage to see if it was appropriate for the R rating it originally got. But maybe I could be wrong. Maybe there was a way to bypass that, because in any other director's cuts, typically it receives an unrated rating because of that, because they weren't able to see the footage, and it's a different version that was originally released in theaters. So anyway, great movie. I saw the word extended cut and I was like, wow, I've never seen this before. At least I don't believe I have. And we'll get to why I should have known that or didn't know that after we're done with everything. So pretty cool. VHSs, I'm not sure if I have this, and if I do, oh well, it is what it is. Next Friday, I know I have the first one for sure. I think I've seen this one before out in the wild, but I believe it had mold on it, and I don't want to mess with that. Although, in a video somewhere down the line, we're going to see if we can remove some mold from a video that I do have, because looked it up and it seems pretty simple. So maybe I can make it easier for you to at least give you an idea of the steps you need to take to do that, because there's a way. There's a way to preserve history. There always is. Next 2 are going to be widescreen versions of Austin Powers and Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me. Now, I do have these already on VHS, but what I don't have is the widescreen versions. Now, why would I get this? I've never seen these before. Typically, most of the time, unless otherwise identified, movies are released full screen. Not always. There are a lot of DVDs out there that were released widescreen, but it'll tell you right on the top, like on this it would say, full screen or widescreen. But typically if it doesn't say that, then it is widescreen. So, or full screen rather. So these are widescreen, and I've just never seen it. I think the box art looks amazing. And I was like, wow. I don't think I've seen the third one even on VHS. It doesn't really interest me. I mean, the third one was okay. These movies are great overall, but the first 2 really take me back to a different time in the 90s when, the world was a different place. A lot of different things did not happen when these movies came out. So, great to add them to the collection, of course, as always. And good thing to pop into the VHS when I'm editing. I don't always watch horror movies. I can watch a number of things, throw on a Laserdisc. That is part of what I do when the camera's not on. So definitely something to keep in mind. And of course, we got some games. And after I go over the games of me not knowing whether I have these or not, only by memory, I'll explain why. Same thing with the movies. First one up is a blank disc. Blank disc. Why did I get this? Well, that's a very good question. So, whenever you see blank discs in the wild like this, or should I say blank covers, blank disc holders, I don't know. When it looks like this, open it up. You may see something you don't expect. I believe this is a DVD cover. I'm not sure. But it doesn't have anything else in it. But it does have a game. And the game was in pretty good condition. And it is Midway Arcade Treasures 2. I don't know if I have that, but disc only. And these little arcade compilations are awesome. And they might have some games on there that, because of licensing reasons, you could not get anymore. For example, X-Men that was re-released on the PS3. Just a straight arcade port. Nothing added to it other than maybe trophies and online play or something like that. You cannot get that game anymore. I have it because I had it downloaded and I never got rid of it. But you can't get that game anymore simply because the licensing ran out on it. When the licensing runs out on something and it's in a digital form or in a physical form, it becomes out of print. It becomes unavailable because that agreement was not reached between wherever that license ended up, or the trademark or whatever it is, to where the company, group, person, individual, whatever is selling it. So that's just how I know about that. I might be a little bit wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But there might be some treasures in that one. Next one up, a Wii title. I know. I haven't seen these out in the wild in a long time. This is called Press Your Luck. And it looks awesome. I don't know exactly where it's from, but it has an interesting barcode on the back of it. And it looks like a bunch of mini games you can do, some trivia and stuff like that. Might be something cool to play with the boy, maybe do a review on, or, you know, the girl, my daughter, or my son. So, pretty cool. This one I almost didn't pick up, but with certain sports games, typically NCAA 14, these sports games go for a lot of money. And if you're looking to build up funds to buy other things, whether it be games or action figures or whatever, this is a good place to look. And most people overlook it because of that. NCAA 14 is very expensive because it is the last NCAA sports title that was released for any system. That's my knowledge on it. Could be wrong. That's what I know about it. So I saw this out of the corner of my eye because I passed it and I almost didn't take my own advice. I don't really have any interest in the game. Might be something good to throw in there. I'm not really good at these games. I'm much better at NFL Blitz. I guess that's the best way to say it. And with this game, it popped up at $10, $11 or something like that. And I only paid a couple of bucks for it. So, hey, I guess I've got ESPN 2K5 to add to the collection. But not my official collection. That'll be stuff that I'll eventually get rid of, build up to buy more cool stuff. So, this one, I don't know if I'd really want to part ways with it. I think I had a few Wii U games. I don't know if I still kept them or not. But I've never seen this out in the wild. And you know how I'm a huge Ninja Gaiden fan. And if you don't know, well, guess what? I am. Ninja Gaiden 3 Razor's Edge for the Wii U. I was certain that this game would have some value to it. It doesn't, but I paid a lot less than what it's worth. I think it's worth like $9 or something like that. But again, if I don't decide to keep it because I don't have a Wii U as of this point, maybe it'd be a good thing to put into, like I said, that little pot to bring and get some cool stuff. Hopefully some awesome video games. We have done that before, like I said, a couple times throughout this video. So, how do I feel about the thrift now? I felt good. I haven't been there in so long. It's refreshing to get back out in the wild. I had other things to do personally out in the area where these thrifts are normally located, so it kind of worked out in the long run. And I had to stay in that area for a couple of hours, so I was able to get out to them. It was great. There's a ton of thrifts, Goodwills, little tiny mom and pop ones, all kinds of different thrift stores in the area that I'm in. I just don't always have the time to go to them, and some I've been to, and it just really hasn't gotten, bared any fruit, I guess is the best way to put it. So I try to only focus on certain ones, and then every once in a while I'll go to ones that I don't normally get luck on, just to see if it works out. Well, like I said at the beginning of this video, short answer, it's just a time thing with me. So glad to get out into the wild, running around looking for things at the thrift. I think we've got some great things to add to the collection. I think that we've got some great games to try out, except for the Wii U one because I don't have one, and then eventually turn into something even better once we have a good amount of them. Bring them to the game store and start selling things off. I believe if I was going to resell, that's probably the way I'm going to do it. There are a lot of different ways to resell and get more money. eBay is one of them. Mercy, we went over this earlier. I just feel that it's a lot easier and more convenient for me to go to the game store. You might not necessarily get the full value of what you would get, but at least you can get something else in the store, because that's really what I'm trying to go after here. So this video has gone on long enough. And we've got a few more videos down the road, I'm sure. Plenty of content. What am I talking about? A few. There's plenty of content coming down the road. I'm glad that we were able to get some Thrift Time and Finds in. It's been a while, and that's what I got. So, recap. Thank you to the awesome, amazing support that 171, wow, 171 awesome, amazing folks out there, and the tube of 1 billion yous, but only one of me and you have subscribed to the House of Fun and video games. As you can see, that's what I'm surrounded by. That's why you tune into this channel. So if you haven't already, make sure you join the other 171 folks. Be 172, 73, 74, 75. Be whatever number you're going to be when you get in line and jump into the subscription count for the House of Fun and Video Games. Also, I bet you those folks did this as well. You should hit that notification bell for any time that I upload anything with Thrift Time and Finds, movie reviews, video game reviews, nonsense. Maybe I build something. Probably not. Never know, though. I'm just not that good at building stuff. But not perfect. You'll be notified of it right away. Also, other ways to get in touch with the House of Fun and Video Games. We have a Facebook page, Jason's House of Fun and Video Games. I want to hear from you in other ways that we can't hear from you on the platform that we're on the tube. Send me your pictures of your game rooms. What you've been finding in the wild. What are you targeting? What are you going after in regards to gaming? Action figures. Nonsense. Have a conversation. I'm always willing to chit-chat with whoever about whatever when it comes to the things on this channel that we cover. So make sure you check me out there. Also have a Twitter, Jason's House of Fun and Video Games as well. Look that up, you'll find me. And we have a Snapchat, but we don't really use it too much. It hasn't really gotten us, any kind of communication with folks. I'm perfectly fine with that. There's a lot of different other ways to communicate. People have suggested getting an Instagram, but I just don't have the interest in doing that. Maybe someday, but I guess it would be cool. I don't know much about it, just a bunch of pictures and kind of similar to the Twitter, but maybe a little more user-friendly. I don't know. I don't think I even understand Twitter half the time, trying to follow how things are on it, but whatever. Falling off the tracks. Ooh-doo-doo. Get back on him, brother. Ooh, yeah. This is Jason's House of Fun and Video Games. I hope you have a wonderful night. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. And in a few days, depending on when this video comes out and gets released to you, the weekend will be here and it is time to have fun. Enjoy time in the sun, but I'll be working most of it. So it's all good. It's all fun and games until you got a whole room that consumes you with fun and video games. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, folks. You take care.
I've been dreaming on in my head like I've seen it. A life worth living is a life with meaning. I'll do what I love till my heart stops beating. I'm feeding this demon. Got a taste, can't erase bitterness in my face. Work a job every day till your dreams fade away. Like a card, never change, play the game that we say. I need a break. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on. I'm staying strong, need to move on to be what I want. I'll keep dreaming on.
Case on when I chase like that, yeah, I play so strong with a knife in the back, I'ma swing home.